Hello and welcome to Green Pass Gaming's Midweek Catch-up. I'm your host Flap, and today we have Puxley with us. Hello, Pux.
Hello.
And indeed Luke. Hello, Luke. Down below as always. There you go. Yeah, it's Thursday. We're from the UK. It's been a glorious day in the UK today. Not a cloud in the sky. The sun's just setting in front of me. So yeah, good times. Good times at the moment. Got some pretty cool topics tonight. Some of them are kind of topical in the news. One or perhaps two of them have been rattling around my head for a little while. So perhaps we'll dive into those probably first off, actually, and kind of get those out of the way, I suppose. And most of the clues around what the topics on tonight's show are in the thumbnail that I'm sure most people have seen by now. But yeah, let's get straight into it, shall we? Let's go straight in, chaps. Chat, before we do chat, thank you for being here. Don't forget, I always forget this to do this at the top of the show. Hit the like, share, subscribe button. That always goes a long way. Tell us how much you love us. That's fantastic. We love all of that kind of thing. But yeah, let's get straight into it, shall we? No messing about. The Xbox app. Now, I've seen on Pure Xbox, it's a website that I kind of go to every now and again for some Xbox news. Sometimes they have a bit of a scoop on things before other people. Other times not. Oh, we've lost Luke. And they mentioned a couple of weeks ago about the Xbox app, and mainly around the search function and just how dire and crap it is. And Pux and I had a chat over the weekend, and we both kind of agreed, and I thought, right, perhaps it's about time we do this, because Microsoft is first and foremost a software company. They've had their own mobile platform, and they seem to be really struggling with the Xbox app. It doesn't, for me personally, it doesn't live up to either my expectations of an app in general, but the whole Xbox kind of jam that they've got going on, it just seems like an afterthought, Pux. Am I alone in this? Am I being unfair?
No, I completely agree. I know.
Right.
I think it was around the Kingdom Hearts 4 news when that all first dropped last week, and I think this is what we originally talked about when we met up over the weekend. Yeah, like the Kingdom Hearts 4 news came out, and I remember, is it still on Game Pass or on Xbox or whatever else? So on both, bear in mind, there's obviously two apps, right? You've got the normal Xbox app and then the specific Game Pass one. So it's split over two anyway, which I find, why can't you just consolidate it all into one?
Yeah, what is that?
Why? But yeah, and then like trying to search for Kingdom Hearts, and then like the first, I think 50 things which came up didn't even begin with the letter K, let alone have anything to do with the game that I was trying to search for. And it's just like, what? Don't worry, BMG, this isn't a Kingdom Hearts chat. That's just an example of the thing I was searching for at the time. But yeah, I just find it so bizarre how, and I know Scott's had this problem as well, and I'm sure Luke has many a time, assuming you've obviously searched through the app. But it's just like, come on. And you said it yourself, like, I know they're not necessarily like the top player, right? But their own Bing search is, they clearly have experience
in. They've got their own search engine. They know how to do a search, don't they?
Exactly. Like, I appreciate it's like the functionality of a search feature is. I appreciate it's probably not as simple as it sounds, but at the same time, they've got all the experience and the backing and knowledge behind them over years, and you can't even get it into an Xbox app. I just find it so bizarre.
It's a bit odd, isn't it? And like you say, they've split out the Game Pass side of things. Do we use apps? Do you use apps, Luke, at all? Is the Xbox app something you use particularly?
Are we talking about the mobile app here?
Well, kind of both, actually. Well, both as in mobile and PC. Let's focus on mobile. That's a good salient point.
I was specifically referring to mobile myself.
Yeah, but the PC one's a bit crap as well. But let's deal with the mobile one first, and before we come on to the PC. Do you use the PC app at all?
Do I use a PC app?
Sorry, app. So sorry, mobile app. I meant mobile app.
Mobile.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean not for anything in particular. I use it probably just to check my playtime on certain games. That's
Okay.
it, because there's a little button you can get to find that, so it's just interesting. But no, I don't use it at all, really. Nor do I use the Game Pass one.
Not at all. Oh, that's interesting. So you don't obviously ever stream or anything then?
No, I mean I've tried it. I've used it. Functionality's fine. Other than the Game Pass one for me, but I don't use it day to day at all.
Now, BMG's just put in the chat, 100% agree on the main Xbox app is awful, yet the Game Pass app works perfectly. And I've got to be honest, out of the two, the Game Pass one is pretty flawless, actually. Yeah. I find only way to search a game is by the Xbox website, which, again, that's kind of true. Yeah, I was just so disappointed. To be honest, I have bought games while I've been out and about. Something will pop up or someone says, oh, there's a deal on at the moment. And I'll go on the app. Struggle to find it sometimes in the store, the game, if it's there, because they don't necessarily do this whole, when you go to the store on the Xbox itself, you've got all of the deals going on and stuff. That's not necessarily in the app and stuff. And I have downloaded stuff to the Xbox, so I do actually kind of use it, and it's quite handy to be able to. I use it sometimes. I'll get an Xbox message and I'm out and about, and it will ping up on my phone and stuff. So I do use it. I'm just a bit disappointed that there's not much love thrown that way, and it's been like it. Well, probably about 2 years now, at least year and a half and stuff. But it just surprises me.
I have to admit, though, as well, what BMG said about how best way is going for the Xbox website. I think the Xbox website is equally shite. Like, it's just the general layouts of things. I know they're going for their whole kind of flat tiled look, and like all the from at least when I remember using it, like the thumbnails for all of the cover art for games and stuff is quite big, and it's obviously got a large grid as well, and it seems to scroll infinitely. And I think the filter options on the left hand side are pretty pants as well. And I just find myself either just go straight to Google and just go straight to the link directly, or I just do it for other means.
Yeah, like I say, it's something that's been flagged up on a few sort of popular websites, and it's just something that's just I'm starting to notice, and we've put up with it for quite a long time now. But Luke, how do you get on with the PC app then? Because I'm not overly enamoured with that either, to be honest.
No, it's better than it was because they revamped it a little bit. I think a couple of months ago now. So I mean, just basic stuff in terms of where you can install files to. Is now there properly. It's better. I mean, I have to use it, so to access any of the Game Pass people, that's probably the worst. App on Windows, but.
They did this weird transition thing as well because they had two apps running simultaneously, didn't they? And they didn't necessarily share the same feature set. So if you actually wanted to stream from your Xbox to your PC, you had to use the old app because it wasn't in the new. It's just...
Yeah, it was the Xbox One app, wasn't it?
That's it.
Yeah. Campaign and they've also... the biggest problem I think they have on the Game Pass app, for me anyway, I don't know if other people suffer from this, is that when a game gets an update, sometimes it will say, on the Xbox Game Pass app, update your game, and you will click update and nothing will happen. And you can actually go and, completely close down the app, reopen it, and nothing will happen at all. And you actually have to go into the Microsoft Store, find the game, or go up to your updates, in the top right of the store, where everything else is, not just game stuff, and then it will pull through the update on the store and kind of transmog it to the app, basically. So it's still a massive pain.
I'm guessing it's a separate team that deal with that side of things, and they're obviously not perhaps under the same scrutiny as Phil Spencer puts everyone else under him. And in fact, they might not even report into Phil Spencer. They might be a different part of the business potentially, I guess. It's just quite a stark sort of difference between, because I actually think the Xbox OS, I've got used to it. I quite like it. I've got a PS5 as well. That's kind of okay. They're both functional. I think the software actually on the Xboxes themselves is pretty sound actually, and they've got some fantastic features coming out. But it's just the sort of support, and BMG's put in the chat that the PlayStation app works flawlessly. I'd argue that I don't know about flawlessly, but it's certainly a lot better. I
find the general interface of the PlayStation app to be a lot nicer as well. Just so the design, the way they've done it, and I kind of, I mean, yeah, I should say flawlessly is very subjective, but I've had very minimal trouble with the PlayStation app in comparison to the Xbox One.
Yes, very bizarre. Well, we won't dwell on that one too long. I just thought it was an interesting one to bring up, and I know that I'm not probably alone on disliking that particular app, and I use it. I do use it every now and again, so it is a frustration for me that it's just been dropped, I guess, on some level.
Just to add as well, I mean, I've had those same problems that Luke was mentioning, that, you know, the convenience of being able to go onto the app to then select, oh, this game's just come out on Game Pass, I'm nowhere near home or whatever else. I'll trigger it now, and then by the time I get home, it's done. And then it never does it.
Yeah.
At no point have I ever come home, and I think the one time it kind of worked was when the Balan Wonderworld demo first came out.
Of all things.
Of all things, but I say kind of worked because I did it, and I came home, booted up the Xbox, and it was there. But then it wouldn't actually load. It kept saying like, "Oh, invalid license key," or it was like some sort of error message like that, or "You need the disc to play this game." It's just like, it's a demo, it's a digital demo. What the hell? So I had to delete it and then reinstall it from the Xbox, directly on the Xbox, and then obviously it worked fine. But yeah, even that didn't work right, which I thought was very bizarre. But
yeah, well, I hope they get their shit together in the long run. It's not a deal breaker for anyone. I'm not suggesting that it is, but yeah, it's just an interesting sort of a little insight, actually. Like I say, perhaps it's a different part of Microsoft or Xbox that deal with that side of things, and they're definitely not up to the sort of standard that we'd expect from the Xbox sort of software development side of things itself. Let's move on to the Game Pass one if we can.
Sure.
Again, I don't know. Perhaps I'm being unfair, and again, I've seen a few comments floating around and stuff, so I thought I'd kind of pick it up on this show. But the quality of the games dropping into Game Pass seems to have tailed off slightly. I'm happy to be challenged on that, and I am paraphrasing some other comments that I've read on the internet. It doesn't necessarily make them valid, but I do kind of understand where that kind of feeling comes from. I think it's because we haven't had any huge drops lately, and perhaps we've been spoilt as gamers with Game Pass. Just wondering what your guys' thoughts and feelings were around Game Pass when you get to see the new swathe of games coming in. Are you mildly disappointed, or are you absolutely over the moon about it? Pucks?
For them, I mean, I always like seeing as new games coming to the Game Pass storefront, so to speak, every month, whatever it is. It's always, it's always fun to see what's new coming. But I get what you mean. But I have been thinking about this, and I'm not sure whether it's one of those things. We kind of mentioned something similar on last week's show as well, where is it I don't know whether or not is it fair to say, the quality of games not quite what we expect, or is it more this genre of games that are coming out to Game Pass don't fit with what I feel like playing, so therefore it just feels like it's a bit shit. If you get what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, if you're not into JRPGs and this month there's 3 of them, then yeah, I guess you feel a bit hard done by.
I mean, the good thing about Game Pass, like we've always said before, is that it does put games in front of your eyes which you may have never even considered before, or just wouldn't have discovered because you never find them. But personally, for me, I've not found myself seeing. I mean, the only one I'm looking forward to playing is Bugsnax, because I was intrigued with it. I know, of all games. But it goes again with our conversation last week when we said about how it feels like there's not any. We don't really know. Well, sorry, we know what's coming out, but that's like next year and beyond, or very late this year. Like in the immediate months between now and holiday season, it's like, what's coming? Not a lot from what we know. So anything feels like a bonus at this point. But at the same time, there's so many other games I'm catching up on as well that I don't know. I it's hard to describe really, but yeah, is it fair to say the quality is lacking? I don't know. I suppose it's more. There's no kind of more bigger AAA-ish titles coming out, there? Which
not new. Not new ones.
I don't expect a lot of new ones, but maybe something that's come out or been out for maybe a couple of years. Which, like take Bugsnax for example. I know it's gone from PlayStation exclusive to multi-plat release, and it just happens to be bundled within this deal, which is great for anyone else who played it. But other games like that, which you think, could they have come to the service? Yes, but maybe there's just maybe they are trying to do something in the background, and it's just a load of legal and licensing nightmares.
Yeah, potentially. But you'd have thought that would have been going on for the previous months, and they'd be at a point where they can. What's your take on it, Luke? Are we being unfair? Is that an unfair comment with Game Pass? I mean, I guess it's going to have its peaks and troughs. Don't know. Do you feel a little bit hard done by over the last couple of months worth of games, or not?
Yeah, well, not hard done by. I mean,
No.
as you say, there are peaks and troughs in this stuff. So there are going to be months where there's less. I think, for me, like the last big thing to come out there was probably Guardians, which I
Yeah.
already played, bought it last year. So for me, it's nothing. But for other people, that's a really great game. So and they hadn't played it before, obviously. So it's just one of those things. I mean, we knew essentially that by the time Halo Infinite had come out, that at least from a first party perspective, they were pretty dry for a while. Microsoft, so you know, absent those games in the service, and then this, I mean, you know, there's been a few like some big third party stuff that's released this year, but the realistically was never going to go in Game Pass. So they're kind of stuck with historic games from last year, further back than that. Some indies. I think some of the indies could have been a bit better. There's some bigger indies you could have tried to get in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's okay. It's fine. They're still adding stuff, which is cool, and there's stuff like Crusader Kings that came out, which is supposed to be very good and kind of a bigger title, not huge, but a bigger one. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next few months. But it's entering that period where you start to not question it in terms of as long term, but as a subscriber, you're like, what is it worth sticking around?
Exactly.
For now, should I just cancel it? And pick it up.
That's exactly where this topic kind of came off. I saw a few comments saying, "Well, nothing's really landed for a while. I'm going to cancel my subscription, and if something lands, then I'll get it again." And of course, you're free to come and go as you please like that. So yeah, that's kind of where this kind of topic came from, really. And I've seen those sort of comments floating around in various mediums and various platforms and stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I think Tunic was quite a big one for me, and also I think Lost in Random. I'm quite intrigued by. I've downloaded it, not played it yet. I'm too busy playing Dark Souls 3 at the moment, but. So that's, I guess we're on trickle feed at the moment. There doesn't seem to be anything big coming along, but perhaps, and I think it's been suggested in the comments that actually perhaps this is somewhat of quiet before the storm. Perhaps there's going to be a bit of a bigger summer sort of blowout from Xbox. So I'm hoping that there's perhaps some other titles yet to come in. We're going to see any big AAAs coming in soon, do you think, Pucks? Is it because we've got saying that. I mean, this kind of bleeds into the next topic slightly, but they did announce that Assassin's Creed Origins was going to drop, which AAA title, so quite a few years old now, but
it is. But also, I suppose, well, let's start talking about that as well. I guess it all kind of fits into the same topic. What I found more interesting about that, and it's also For Honor, isn't it, as well? That's coming. So is that they haven't said when; they've just said, between May and June. And again, BMG suggesting in the chat, given the way it was announced, are they trying to announce some sort of, is Ubisoft Plus coming to the service? I mean, I'm not totally convinced myself that Ubisoft Plus is coming as part of Game Pass, but maybe it's being integrated as part of Xbox, perhaps, unless there is a deal being struck. But I just don't know if I see it happening with the whole Activision stuff going on. And with the idea that those stuff may eventually come into the service, I just don't know. There's not really much basis on this. It's just more of a feeling that I have that I just don't feel like it's something that Ubisoft would be open to do, because they usually try to push their own stuff. But either that, or I could be wrong, and maybe it's the inverse. Maybe they are seeing the success that maybe EA Play being part of Game Pass has driven people to be playing Battlefields and all those kind of things, for example. Maybe they are thinking, actually, let's trial this.
Who plays Battlefield? No one plays Battlefield anymore.
Not 2042, that's for sure.
Not the latest one. No, that's true. Yeah.
Weren't they down to less than 1,000 concurrent players at some point? And I think Battlefield
Steam,
Battlefield 5
was about 42,000 players or something stupid. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's a colossal fuck up, isn't it, that one?
And I think, what was it? There was even more people on Battlefield 4 as well.
Yeah, the one before.
How old that game is.
Yeah. Wow.
So, that's mad.
Yeah, so Assassin's Creed Origins dropping in, Luke. I mean, is that a kind of a big deal, do you think? Is that going to be enough to entice people in? It's not really, is it?
No. I mean, again, if you've not played that game, cool. I actually quite like Assassin's Creed Origins. I think it's the best one of the
I didn't think you was an Assassin's Creed fan.
Well, no, I have a checkered history of Assassin's Creed because I hated the first one. I absolutely hated it.
Oh.
The second one's one of my favorite games, probably of all time. And then third one, kind of garbage. Black Flag was very good. And then Unity was very flawed. I actually quite enjoyed it. And then when it got to Origins, Origins was the start of them kind of RPGing the Assassin's Creed games, and I quite enjoyed it.
Was it also the first kind of open worldy one as well? It was, right? Like where you could traverse anywhere or not?
Because they're all kind of open world, weren't they?
They're all kind of
the other ones are kind of like zoned off, aren't they?
I suppose Black Flag.
Unity, Black Flag was open worldy. Unity was Black Flag was big open world. God, Black Flag was good.
I love that game.
And yeah, it's great. And Unity was, in Paris, open world. Origins was the first one, like I said, where they introduced a lot of the RPG stuff into it, and it was probably for me the last quite good one. I found Valhalla and Odyssey a bit crap, but anyway.
Any particular reason for that, or because I know the general consensus
just became,
from what I've read is Origins is the worst one out of the three, so to speak. But
I think the thing is that Origins is quite a big game, but it was quite focused in the way that Assassin's Creed used to be focused. Valhalla and Odyssey, probably Odyssey in particular, actually, they're just so bloated. They're just so bloated, full of crap, and full of Ubisoft tropey stuff. Whereas Origins was kind of the beginning. Origins was very fresh for Assassin's Creed, right? By the time Odyssey hit, it was kind of they'd figured out what to do and how they wanted to do it, and Valhalla is just an extension of that. So, and I'm not saying about games because I know a lot of people enjoy them. And I've played, I played 20 hours of Odyssey. I think I played maybe 20 hours of Valhalla. But after a time, it's too much for me. So, but yeah, I mean, in terms of Origins, it's not a big deal coming to Game Pass. Neither is For Honor. I don't.
Yeah, that was a strange choice. I think. Apparently, it's got its own niche following, but I don't see it building up any much more steam than what it already has, personally. But
no, and I don't think they're. I would be really surprised if Ubisoft Plus came into Game Pass, became part of the offering, because in of itself, I think it's $15 a month. It's Ubisoft, every Ubisoft game day one. I don't know why they would put that into Game Pass unless Microsoft offered a frankly obscene amount of money, because most of their games, Assassin's Creed, etc., sell extremely well, and that service is only, it's not really great value, because you're paying $15 a month for the the big Ubisoft games, but they don't release tons and tons of games in a year. Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if they could maybe offer it one day, but I would expect it to be part of a separate subscription for Game Pass, like another tier, because even EA aren't offering their premium subscription service, which is the same as Ubisoft Plus in Game Pass. It's just the EA Play, the basic version. So
yeah, I've got some comments here as well. So I know Scott here has said, yeah, I think Ubisoft Plus is a bit too much of a stretch. It's £15 a month on its own, as you already said, Luke. Yeah, and I think that's a bit much to include in Game Pass Ultimate. And yeah, again, Scott said it as well. UB Plus include their games day and date, as you just said, Luke. Yeah, and I think it's more likely if Ubisoft introduce a smaller / cheap tier more akin to EA Play. Yeah, I suppose I can see that more of a thing. I mean, what is the difference between EA Play on Game Pass and actual EA Play? Like EA Play Premium, whatever it is. What is the difference?
Don't you get day and date games?
Yeah, it's day and date. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you don't get that on Game Pass Ultimate. Sure.
No, but to be honest, the latest FIFA doesn't take too long to come out, does it? I don't think 4 months. Is that about right? I'm not a FIFA fan.
Yeah, it's not too long. I mean, all of the games are sort of between 6 to 12 months. They'll drop in EA Play. So, and I think it's. I don't know if it's the same for Ubisoft. The Ubisoft service, actually, I don't know if it takes a similar amount of time. I haven't looked into it.
Do Ubisoft have an annual game? I don't think they do really. Do they, like FIFA or Call of Duty?
Assassin's Creed.
It used to be, it used to be Assassin's Creed.
They've
but
backed off on that now.
not really.
Because I'm thinking,
not really.
with things like FIFA and Call of Duty, the first, I would suspect the first 4 months are the most critical for that game, and then obviously sales probably completely drop off by then. So you might as well stick it in a service like Game Pass or EA Play. EA Play on the Game Pass service. So FIFA coming to the service 4 months in, that probably actually draws a load of extra players in that they wouldn't necessarily have had, if that makes sense. But interesting.
So I've got some more comments here as well. I've got BMG saying true, but if the rumors are true and the price increasing in the near future and Xbox can show it, increased player base, I think a deal could be struck. Just so weird how Xbox going about it all makes me think they could be going for something bigger regarding their announcement. And then adds on, maybe Xbox could redo the tiers like PlayStation and maybe include it in a higher tier than Scott jokes Ultimate Plus.
I'd probably go, I mean, obviously depending on the price, I'd probably go for that, which is ironic because we kind of started this topic saying that some people were considering dropping off Game Pass, whilst they're in this kind of lull. And like I say, happy if people that are, in Game Pass are absolutely loving the swathe of games that are coming out lately. But yeah, there are some others that obviously don't feel like that. So yeah, perhaps something like you play, an extra tier where you get the Ubisoft games in their day and date as well, or at least some more of the later titles could entice some people back in. Perhaps I'd be up for that. I don't know what else they could offer though. What else could they offer on the extra tier?
If a new top tier would be including EA Plus and Ubisoft Plus, if that was ever a thing, then that's surely you're offering, isn't it? You get those games day and date on top of the Xbox stuff.
Yeah.
I wondered, and I did mention it before, and I think there was a comment saying this would never happen, but I just, they could potentially include things like battle passes for Halo or Call of Duty and things like that in the top tier, perhaps. I don't know if that'd be enough to entice people.
As well. Yeah, if you're a fan of the game, free battle pass.
Yeah. So
or make it a perk. Yeah.
Ubisoft Plus was mentioned to be coming to the service, and it's all gone really quiet since, hasn't it? I don't really know what they're waiting for. I don't know if there's something kind of happening in the sort of the summer showcase, as it were. And there's been some speculation around whether the Assassin's Creed is kind of another kind of inching forwards towards the Uplay Plus launching on Xbox as a standalone thing as well. Do you think we're far off from it actually launching? And do you think it would really be that popular? Is it a popular service, do you think? I don't really know the numbers.
What, an Ubisoft Plus service, you mean? I don't know any numbers. I instinctively think that it's probably no more or less popular than EA Play service.
I'd have thought it was less popular, personally, but just because of FIFA, I think.
Maybe, but then you have to remember there are a massive pool of people that are right into. I mean, it's easy to think of the main ones like Assassin's Creed and like Far Cry or whatever else, but then don't think you've got games like PC only games that come to Ubisoft Plus. Like, is it the Anno series? Like the strategy management games like that, which are like there's tons of those games, and you've also got the Rayman series, and there's all sorts of PC exclusives as well and the Rabbids franchise. That's all on there. I think there's probably more to it than I think anyone may initially think, but again, you have to be a right Ubisoft whore, I guess, to really love it. I guess.
I'm guessing Luke has got the premium service. I'm joking, by the way.
Of course. No. I don't know what the numbers are like for it. I would think they're less than EA, partly on the games basis, but also, I think actually, I don't think either are particularly popular, because if you think about EA Play Plus or whatever it's called, it's a PC-led service, but nobody plays FIFA on PC. Nobody plays those games. No. Like they're not big popular games on that platform. Most people, like, subscription services on PC generally aren't that popular. People just like to go through Steam. or occasionally they might have to go to Epic for something that's exclusive there. So I would think Ubisoft Plus and the EA equivalent are probably, not too far away in numbers. I think the EA one's probably ahead of it because it launched a lot earlier than Ubisoft Plus did. But yeah, I mean, I don't coming to Xbox. Will it be popular? Maybe a bit. Like, I don't think many people are going to rush to pay Ubisoft $15 a month for 2 free games a year. I don't think that's really, in a backlog. I don't think that's realistic. On top of Game Pass as well. It will be useful for some people, as Buck said. If you like super fanboy, you might love it. It might be great, but yeah, it's weird that it's gone quite silent. But equally, they're probably just working out how it, functionality and stuff like that. So
I wonder if, on top of that as well, whether or not it's to do with the, again, the whole pandemic causing delays of games and stuff. I'm wondering if different games or titles that maybe we don't even know about being pushed back may have also been a factor in that why it's gone silent. Kind of these heavy rumors that it may be announced, and then it came about that Assassin's Creed, it wasn't that changed from being an annual release to every 2 years, whatever it is now, for example, or even more so, whatever the new plan is. So I'm wondering if maybe Ubisoft plans like that may be delayed what maybe Microsoft want to do with the service, or whatever, or between the two of them, perhaps, assuming it's a thing, of course.
It's a fair point, and actually, if you think about it, the Ubisoft Plus service, generally speaking, going forward, it has even probably less value than it did a couple of years ago, for the simple reason that, first of all, Ubisoft are all in to service games. So, as you said, Pucks, stuff's taking longer. They're making bigger games.
Yeah.
And the second one is they're also pivoting to, in a big extent, to free to play, and you don't need a service for that. Yeah. So you've got X Defiant coming out at some point. What was the other one?
What was the other one?
I think there's one that Tom Henderson was talking about another day. That's like a like a Hyperscape follow up, but not Hyperscape because that flopped so massively. Which is like a battle arena type game with battle royale. There's Heartlands, the Division Heartlands. So I think that's supposed to be free to play. Next Assassin's Creed is supposed to be heavily service based, going even away from Valhalla, more towards the service direction. So
I don't
really see what model has for Ubisoft.
I say, is there a plan that maybe they'll retire the service and then just integrate it into Game Pass instead and get revenue that way? I mean, as you said, because you make good points there. I mean, if they're, and a lot of their more recent titles than ones coming out are definitely moving to that free to play model, or very, or long term service based, to the point where are people still going to be wanting to pay £15 a month to play Assassin's Creed 2 over again when you can just buy it one time for £10?
Well,
on one of the many deals that there are.
Ash Reviews Games has put in there, I forgot X Defiant was a thing, and I quite like that comment because I don't know about you guys, I fall off Ubisoft games very hard and very quick, and it doesn't take, they're not out long before they're in a sale and stuff. I don't think their replayability and their resale value really stays very high. I'm really surprised that you play, or Ubisoft Plus is kind of sustainable on some level. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of,
I feel like in a way it all kind of first came out around the more open worldy Ghost Recon games, didn't it? Before that massively flopped. And I think since Breakpoint, and then they've even announced that they're killing the service. It's gone now.
Yeah, exactly.
Discontinued. So I don't know whether or not it's to get more people onto that kind of game, and then maybe it's just all backfired because of popularity and I don't know, things going wrong perhaps.
They've had some real humdingers, haven't they, Ubisoft? They've made some. I mean, has anyone played Far Cry 6? Has anyone played that?
No, I haven't.
Luke, is that not your thing? You quite like the Far Cries, don't you?
Well, I tend to love Far Cries, but I've just no,
just bad timing.
I'm not bother.
Yeah, that would be the only thing that I would be excited about. I think. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I guess if you look at their roadmap, sort of. I mean, for me, Splinter Cell remake. That's probably it. That's probably the only thing I'm looking forward to. So,
yeah, Well, this I don't know about you guys. This to me feels like the quiet before the storm. Perhaps I think this might be the pre E3 sort of lull in games and news and announcements. Perhaps we are kind of getting to that time. Well, and they're not going to drop any massive bombshells, are they? Just before what would be E3, surely.
No, of course, but at the same time, I don't think we can expect there to be a lot of instant good releases around E3. Well, unless it is something like Ubisoft coming to Game Pass as an add-on, and you get Assassin's Creed 1 through Origins added to the service, for example. But I don't think we're going to get anything more recent that maybe people will be more interested in until later in the year. Still, I don't think, unless obviously things are coming out in the summer and on kind of period. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird time, isn't it? In the gaming, at least from a Game Pass perspective. I know if you're on the Nintendo front, it's kind of up and down at the moment. PlayStation, I think, is also the same-ish. It's kind of up, again, depending on the type of genre you're into. It all feels up and down in general, if you get what I mean. It's a very weird time, but as you say, hopefully, yeah, I think everyone's looking forward to E3 for this particular reason, aren't they? Just to see, right, what can we look forward to in the immediate future, as well as on top of the things that we know about that are coming over long term.
Yeah, I guess so. The E3 equivalent. Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, we did mention this on a couple of shows ago, didn't we? With the lack of a lot of first-party titles, and I think Scott mentioned that he thinks that the plan was that it was going to be enough first-party titles kind of trickling into the service to keep it fresh and relevant. And that the current first-party titles in there should be enough to keep people going in between those sort of periods. But I don't know. I mean, it depends how hard you fall off the games. I mean, there's always something new and fresh around the corner. There's always something new to play.
This is something I've actually been, as everyone's been talking, I've been thinking about this as well, because I went through Game Pass the other day just trying to think of something new. And, there's so many great titles on there. Just take the Bethesda ones, whether you like Fallout or the Doom series.
But I've played them. I've played them all.
This is the thing. Like, I look at them and think, I think it's like Skyrim Special Edition with like all the DLC included. I think, it would be great to jump into that. But equally, I start it up. I think, yep, cool. I love this back then. I love it now. But I equally also know that it's going to take me a good 60 plus hours minimum. That's a very low number. Like, we're talking 3 figures, aren't we? Like hundreds of hours worth of time to really enjoy all that extra content. And as you say, but then I'm aware that there's something new coming out on Xbox or other platform that I know I'm going to want to play. So then I'll drop off of that one. And then before I know it, I've not touched it in weeks or months. And then, it's taken up space on my hard drive. I'll just delete it. And maybe I'll download it again next year.
It's really weird because, Elden Ring's done that to me. I know it's not part of Game Pass, but that's really fucked me over, if I'm honest, Elden Ring, because what it's done is it's got me into the Souls genre. And so I'm now, playing the Souls games hard. So I've completed Elden Ring. I've now completed Bloodborne. I'm halfway through Dark Souls 3, and it's actually taken me down a little rabbit hole. And I'm now actually playing some of the slightly older titles to get my sort of From Software kick.
And that's just more. You're gonna be really disappointed.
Well, yeah, it's just void. Yeah, I mean, I did start playing Tunic, and I did enjoy Tunic, but Bloodborne is kind of it's a bigger game, and it's taken my attention away from that. I mean, I'll probably come back to Tunic at some point, but when I do, there'll be something else to play. And I know we sound like spoiled kids with so much content and so much stuff to do, and almost too much stuff. Because, like you say, when you scroll through Game Pass, you think this is a fantastic service, but I don't really want to play any of the games because I've played them.
Yeah. Well, again, I've got 2 comments here I want to read out. So yeah, Ash Reviews Games says, there are so many games nowadays, which is true. There's tens and hundreds of games coming out every day if you include, indie titles that come up to itch.io, for example. And BMG as well said, with nothing really due out, it's hard to put out something fresh and new in the service. Plus, with game delays happening left, right, and centre, it makes it harder to please the audience. And as you say, maybe we are sport kids because we love games. We're heavy gamers, and it's our life and it's our passion. But it's some, we don't want to come across as sport. We know we're spoiled. I love the service. We're not dumping on the service, but it's just that lull in gaming, isn't it?
I think we've been. You know what? I think it's a testament to how fantastic the service has been up until this point, because there's been so many heavy hitters that we're kind of spoiled. Really, we're used to the good stuff, and now it's eased off slightly. And like I say, that's just my opinion. Some other people might think, "What do you mean it's slowed?" Or it hasn't. You know what I mean? It's still fantastic. But yeah, it's. Well, I'm hoping for a big blowout in June, to be honest.
Yeah, and so on top of everything you just said, as I said earlier, that just knowing that if I wanted to, again, I know I mentioned Skyrim, I use that as an example, but it's good to know that will, for the most part, always be on the service. So if I want to play that game again, like I haven't got to worry about, I've got to buy it, I'll wait for it to be on sale, and to which point I may not bother. It's there ready for me, as well as the Dooms and the Fallouts and everything else. The fact that it's there, I think it's a good thing to have, rather than, so maybe it's a mentality and perception shift, perhaps, rather than, oh, we want something more and new. There's so much content you can have at any one time and play at any one time. So maybe it's more the fact that it's nice to know you can do it, rather than where is this new stuff now? Which I know we're not saying that, but
I mean, I wouldn't stop my subscription, because I guess the other thing is that they drop things out the blue. You never actually quite know what's coming in the next couple of weeks until that little thumbnail lands and you look through. I'll tell you one thing that really does piss me off, and I don't know if you've had this, Luke, as well. You look through and you think, oh, there's like 7 new games. And you think, actually, no, it's not. That's the same game we've already got, but it's now you can now stream it, or they've now added that to PC, and it's not quite as good as it first looks. If you see what I'm saying. I've fallen into that trap a few times, but interesting.
I've got a comment here from BMG's also said, even though things are a bit on the quiet side, I'd still keep my subscription going, as I love it and I can just play what I want when I want. And I agree with that as well. I personally, I've got no reason to cancel it, because for how much I play, for how much it costs a month, I get more than 11 quid's worth a month out of it easy. So. And even on a dry month, if I may not play it so much, I know that I'm going to get that money back from everything else I'm going to end up downloading, if you understand what I mean. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. And to be honest, as the service goes, if Sony are kind of copying that idea, then it's obviously the way to go. Yeah, that's fantastic. We've got Mr. Keema in the chat from America. Welcome. I don't know what side or what coast you're on. Let us know, or if you're in the middle. Talking of services and games to serve, some free-to-play even, Luke, it was mentioned earlier in the week that Xbox were considering putting adverts into free-to-play games, non-intrusive adverts in free-to-play games. I don't know how I felt about that. At first, it's sort of like, it kind of dawned on me, are they not in there already? And you still think, no, they're not. And obviously lots of free-to-play games are incredibly popular, so that they draw in some big numbers, which obviously straight away keeps advertisers interested. What's your thoughts around this? Depends how it's done, really. They said non-intrusive. I don't really know what that means. They were talking about product placements. There's like signs on billboards and stuff. Would you potentially have a problem with that? I'm guessing not.
No, not really. I mean, if it's not intrusive and it's, as you say, you just see it in the world somewhere, not really that bothered. Other games have had it, in the past. Death Stranding had it,
product play was it? Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yeah, it was Monster. Yeah, it was Monster. So stuff like that, like nobody, I didn't care. You might not notice it half the time. So and if as long as it's in free to play games, I think that's okay. If it starts crossing over into, Death Stranding was okay because it was just one thing in the game, and that was obviously a premium game, and it was not intrusive at all. But if it becomes more commonplace, I think it would just be irritating more than anything. I wouldn't necessarily boycott a game over it if it's not intrusive, but it would start to get a bit annoying.
Well, it does worry me slightly, because free-to-play games, and let's use Fortnite as the example here, incredibly popular, massive amount of players playing that. So lots of eyes on the screen, lots of advertising, real estate, screen space that they can sell off. But they're already making a shit ton of money with the battle pass and the stuff they sell. This is just upping the ante to the next level yet again. They're not struggling for their payroll. It worries me that that, like you say, this could start bleeding into sort of mainstream games. And like we say, product placement isn't anything new. I remember playing Crazy Taxi, and you'd pull up outside a KFC, and there was Tower Records, if you remember them. I think it was something else. And to be honest, back in those days, it was kind of a novelty, probably around the 2000s, 2001. And in Death Stranding, I've seen that he kind of walks towards a table and picks up a can of Monster, doesn't he, and drink it and stuff. And like you said, I would consider that non-intrusive, but I can imagine, in Fortnite, when you're in the area waiting for everyone to sort of collate, and I can't remember what you call it. Before the bus comes, Pucks, what's that bit called?
Battle bus.
Yeah, but before that bit where you can't actually kill each other, but you can shoot each other.
It doesn't really have a name. It's just like the pre-match zone.
Yeah, that to me seems a bit of dead space that I think they could sell, and I'm just worried that they're going to crash in with an advert for Coke or something along those lines. And although that's not necessarily a problem, after you've seen that same advert for the 42nd time,
what if take Fortnite for an example? Then I mean, I've got a comment I want to read out in a minute as well, but. Say, what if in games like Fortnite free to play, if they start bringing them in, what if they did it as part of the gameplay, where rather than your potion being like a blue bottle of whatever, that
it is a can of Coke
or something. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like how would you feel about something like that if it was integrated that way, rather than as you say, like in-game billboards with advertisements for things which just don't make contextual sense in the games that they're in. I mean, arguably Coke isn't either, but Fortnite being free to play has kind of formed this metaverse, and it's had in-game concerts based on real people, and it's kind of crossed that barrier already in a way.
For me, as a 45-year-old, I would actually think that's quite a cool thing to do. I don't think people with parents with younger children will think that's cool, because I think that they will feel that their children are being sort of targeted for this sort of product placement, which, to be fair, they will be. Yeah. Let's face it, they're not going to be advertising condoms in Fortnite, are they? It's going to be everything aimed at 10-year-olds and below, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That's your armor. You put it on.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, though, that look, Fortnite is a walking advertisement anyway. You're in a game and someone next to you has a Venom skin from Marvel.
Yeah, that's true.
That's that's effectively an advert. That's what that is. It's go and buy the skin. Oh, also, are you interested in Marvel? PlayStation have skins in there. Crossover skins.
Yes.
Other companies do. They're all forms of adverts. Essentially, they're all advertising. So I really wouldn't mind if your potion becomes a Fanta or something. Like it is what it is. Personally, I'm really selfish about this stuff, so I do not give a shit about people's kids in Fortnite. Like, I just don't care. It's.
But it's the thing that get the Daily Mail people, frothing at the mouth.
yeah, but fuck those guys. So who cares? And for sure, yeah. But be a more responsible parent. It's not like it is a walk-in advertisement anyway. So if you're letting your kids play Fortnite, it's not a violent game, but it is a game you spend money on. So.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, because like you say, the whole Marvel thing is advertising in its own right. And to be honest, I've only just sort of stopped and thought when you've said that, it's like, yeah, he's right. That kind of is advertising. I guess it's indirect advertising. They're not selling a product. Whereas I think this is probably more targeted at product. And I think because this was Xbox that first came out with this, and we're coming on to the Sony side of things in a bit, because Xbox first came out with this and they were talking about free to play, I'm guessing they either mean Halo, which I think you're going to struggle to put product placement in a game based in that kind of universe, or Warzone, which again
it's already added that. BMG's already added that if something like Halo, like, could you get Ronald McDonald as a style skin, or like the Burger King and people like that? Like,
it wouldn't work, would it? It's because I think Fortnite gets away with that because it's kind of shell-shaded, cartoony. You couldn't do that in Halo. And to be honest, depends how people feel about it. The current Warzone's set with all Second World War stuff, so I suppose you could advertise Coke at a stretch, and even even Fanta at a stretch. They were around in the Second World War, but you see what I'm saying? It would be weird to advertise Monster in a Second World War game.
Well, can I quickly come back to ads in other platforms then? Because Ash reviews games mentioned earlier, and I remember reading about this at the time. So they say, I haven't played it for a few months, but I think Street Fighter V has ads that basically replace the loading screens. I'm not sure if there's an option to turn them off or not. And I remember this, I don't know if it's a couple of years ago or months ago, but I definitely remember reading about this and how there was almost uproar about it because you paid, 60 quid for this game. And rather than just a normal loading screen, it's an actual advertisement for something completely unrelated to the content of which you're playing. So, I mean, but again, being a loading screen, is that obtrusive? Or is it just solely unnecessary for the sake of being unnecessary? Where do you draw the line?
You've got me thinking now, and Luke, I'll blame you for this. I'm thinking Forza, GT7. That's loaded with brands that we pay for. We're paying for that, aren't we? You've got your Toyotas, you've got your Ferraris. They're all brands that are in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people can't afford them for real. So,
Sure.
But racing games don't work if you don't. I mean, if you base a game on a real life, like a racing game, and you're only driving around in, I don't know, Toyota Yaris's, I don't think people would be too fussed about it.
No, that's an interesting one. So are we suggesting that games like Forza and Gran Turismo isn't necessarily advertising then? It's kind of a necessity. Interesting.
I think it's contextual, isn't it? I mean, Ash Reviews Games has said here that he agrees with the skins looking weird in Halo, for example, with someone like Ronald McDonald. Wouldn't be shocked if they had it, if they had tried it. And I think even earlier today, like with Warzone, there was a trailer for a King Kong versus Godzilla, whatever it is, and they've got a collaboration, which is also arguably advertising. So,
well, Microsoft were coming under a lot of flack for this. Mainly from the Sony camp, because obviously pushing this, and then Sony weren't too far behind, coming out saying, well, actually, we got something similar in store as well. And I'm not really sure what free-to-play games Sony would put their advertising in, because as far as I'm aware, they don't have any free-to-play games yet.
Well, aren't they the main advertiser for Warzone as well, among others?
Well, that would be under Microsoft's control. Well, within the next year
not yet, but after contractual obligations are passed.
Yeah,
sure.
But I think the wording made it sound like Sony had their own plans to do it in their own games, as it were. Which then leads us to think, what free-to-play games would that be then? And like you said, they're still yet to come, possibly.
But almost like with mobile games, where you've got ad services, where like rewarded ads, for example, you as the developer don't control what ads are shown. You're just talking to a service, and that service is you set up some parameters and stuff on your end from a development side, but all you're doing is asking for an ad to be shown somewhere. So does it, rather than saying what games are they going to show their ads in, would it be more, we're going to implement a system whereby developers can integrate ads like that in a game? But as you say, like, rather than static billboards, like take Cyberpunk, for example, where there's loads of monitors around in the game world. Do you have actual advertisements shown in game that are served via that mechanism, rather than saying we are going to serve you our ads, if you get what I mean? Is it just going to be like an API or an interface to say we're going to serve ads as a function?
Well, like Google ads, for instance, because I'm sure we've all been there. We've all thought, I need a new Dyson. I will just Google Dyson Hoovers on Amazon or PC World or whatever it is, and then for the next month, Dyson keeps popping up no matter what website you look at. Do you know what I mean? Whether they're actually tailoring the ads to certain demographics, I guess Microsoft would hold. And to be honest, that's much more powerful for advertisers. It's not so much, they don't necessarily want to blanket advertise Monster to everyone. I'm never going to buy a can of Monster in my life, I don't suppose. So there's no point advertising it to me. If they could specify the sort of ads that would appeal to me, but I'm probably way outside the demographic for a lot of these games. But that kind of thing, I guess, that would make it much more powerful for.
But then is this where it arguably goes a bit beyond that then? Like, because for a lot of websites now, you either have to consent to having personalized ads, or you don't track those details of me. Just give me general service ones, whatever on the list. Does it work on that level? But then
good shout.
To the original question, is the how is it then intrusive, or it feels intrusive because the context the context of the ad doesn't fit the content of the game.
Well, Facebook are an interesting one, and I don't know what your take on this is, Luke, but they come under a lot of fire because they hold a lot of data about people, about their browsing habits and stuff like that. But you could also kind of point that towards Xbox and PlayStation, saying, well, they probably hold a similar amount of data about what we do, the games we play, that they could potentially sell to companies to target some adverts in-game. I don't know if we as gamers would have to consent to that, or whether we already have on those, the
I'm
policies.
Sure you already have, personally.
They are already, yeah.
I mean, anything that's free to sign up to is you've already agreed that you're going to give me your data, right? Sorry, Luke, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I think, the thing is, I think with all of this, a lot of it depends on your attitude towards advertising and your data being processed. For some people, they find it quite intrusive and it's frustrating, which I completely understand. For other people like me, I do not care. Like, I don't care what a company I don't care what a company does with my data. They can advertise to me as much as I want. I would think of myself as strong-headed enough to not, to resist adverts for Coke, right? I mean, or whatever. I say that having just had a, glass of it here. So I don't really care about it. I think some people really do. And for those people, those kind of adverts are going to be, or the way in which their data is processed by Facebook or Xbox or PlayStation, target ads, or they'll dislike it. But there will be opt-out. There's always some form of opt-out that you can do for this sort of stuff. Quite the extent of it won't be known. And we'll just have to see how they get implemented. If it's just digital advertising in a non-intrusive way and it's not particularly targeted, it's just, whoever can buy up the space quickly and, on a billboard in Fortnite, who cares? Don't care. You know what I mean? Like, fine.
Yeah, it's an interesting...
Cool. So I always find the argument, I mean, I know this is a tiny bit off topic, but I do find the argument of how, only recently when people seem to care about how their data's being used, when no doubt your data's been captured since 2004 or something, when you first made your Google account. Like you are the product in anything that's free is the general saying, and of course it's true for the most part because that's how things are developed. They take data and they use it to either create services or to serve things to you. So as much as people say, "Oh, I don't want to have my data tracked in this way," it's like people the world already knows who you are. Like if they wanted to know, they could find out.
Yeah, but
that's only one lens. Course,
and I agree, but you're just one of 8 billion people as well. Do you know what I mean? So you're such a tiny, insignificant speck on the sphere of personal data that unless you're a hardened criminal and you've actually got something to hide. Then...
If you want to start trying to hack NASA and need to be anonymous, but you can't because you've revealed yourself, but it's too late for you.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting discussion because, like you say, I think it's going to start off very subtle. And like we've said, it's been around for decades already. And, I think, like I say, the first product placement I remember was certainly Crazy Taxi. And if I think hard enough, there's probably something before that, to be honest. All the way up to Death Stranding with Monster that was very subtle and I have absolutely no problem with. And to be honest, even if they, like you say, they start putting bottles of Fanta into Fortnite, no problem with that. I think it's when it starts becoming a little bit jarring. They start taking over the screen and playing a 10-second advert and stuff. Every now and again I go around my mate's house and he doesn't pay for Google Plus or whatever it is, the YouTube subscription thing. So I pay for the YouTube subscription. I can't even remember what it's called now. And I don't get any adverts. But when I go around there and an advert pops out of nowhere, it's really jarring. It's like, oh my God, I'd forgotten that's what this was like. So if they were to go down that route, that would frustrate me, but I can also see that there would be potentially a monetary thing that you could pay to remove the adverts as well, like they do sometimes. It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, and we're just at the top of it at the moment, and it worries me slightly. But
yeah, I suppose as we said, it all just depends on the implementation. I mean, another example I thought of was even back to the N64 with Super Smash Brothers when the first one came out. Like, if you'd never played a Pokemon or a Metroid Prime or a Metroid game before, or never even heard of it, and you play Smash Brothers because you've got a Super Mario in there, and I was the same because I played it around a friend's house as a kid. It was just like, who's this guy? And he goes, oh, that's from that series, and then you discover the series. So in that context, I mean, it's a very specific context, but it worked for that. And if it's implemented in a similar-ish way, rather than, as you say, being uncontextual to the game and stuff, then I don't see it being a massive problem. And I think most people, like, love it or hate it, it almost sounds like it's happening anyway. So suck it up and get used to it.
Yeah, we can't. We can't stop it. That ball is already rolling. We're not going to be able to stop it. But it's interesting. Oh, BMG, thank you. That was the third one that I couldn't think of in Crazy Taxi. I think it was Pizza Hut, Tower Records, and KFC, I believe. Is that right? I think it was like that. Anyway, fantastic. Let's just round up the show with one last topic, and we'll probably come to you on this one, Pucks. Seeing as you won a Sonic over the weekend at one of those grabby machines in an arcade.
I did, yes.
Sonic,
I was very happy with it.
Sonic Origins had lots of people excited at first, and then they flashed up an image of all of the various versions you can buy.
Yeah, I don't know the full ins and outs, but it was like 6 different variants of the game, and it's just like, what? You're just re-releasing Sonic's 1, 2, and 3, and Sonic CD. Why are you making it so complicated?
Well, some of the releases had animations and music in the title screen as like an optional extra, and you'd think, is that not kind of just? Wow, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel to try and come up with some tiers of games that. Do you know what I mean? Tiers of the same game.
Well, Sega are really good at doing this, aren't they? Not just with Sonic.
I'm not sure they are.
No, but I mean in terms of creating like all these different packages for their titles and having like this top tier one that maybe comes with an ornament or a statue or something you put on your shelf, and then other streams of DLC, which otherwise you may have to pay separately for anyway. I'm just trying to look it up as we speak, actually. I just want to see what the different tiers are.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we've got the standard edition. We've got the Start Dash Pack, which comes with free DLC included with a pre-order of the standard or digital deluxe version. Then you've got the Premium Fun Pack, the Classic Music Pack, and the Digital Deluxe Pack.
So read out what the Classical Music Pack has as its standout.
Well, it's under coming soon. So can't even pre-order that yet. But it seems like it's going to be. Well, okay. So it's got like rings, and it's a table, right? So things down the left-hand side and rings as to what you get. And so the Classic Fun Pack just has additional music tracks from the Mega Drive and / Genesis titles. The Premium Fun Pack has hard missions. It has the letterbox backgrounds. It has the character animation in the main menu. It's got the camera controls over the main menu islands. I'm reading these out verbatim, by the way. And character animations during music islands. Whereas if you just get the standard edition, for example, you just get the main game. But if you've pre-ordered the standard edition, you get 100 bonus coins, whatever the hell that means, mirror mode as an unlockable in-game mode, and the letterbox backgrounds. And if you get the Start Dash Pack, you get those included with pre-order you just get them rather than having to pre-order the game entirely.
This is just Sonic 1, 2, and 3, for God's sake. Do we need all of this? It's just ridiculous.
I mean, I saw some trailers and it says about how, you have letterbox modes if you want to go standard, or you just stick with the default widescreen. It's just like, well,
who gives a crap?
Those kind of things, but it's a remaster. Like I say, it's a remaster, as in it just has a few extra options. It doesn't look any different. It's not like they've made it, look vector based rather than pixelated. But it looks overly complicated. And of course, then you've got the big bad daddy digital deluxe one, which comes with everything. Well, I say that, but then under the whole 100 bonus coins, the mirror mode, and the letterbox background, it still has that as it's included with a pre-order rather than it's included if you was to buy it after.
It's fair to say it's confused the community. No one really understands the bomb. Are you a Sega fan, Luke? Does this bother you in any way?
That's that's a difficult question to answer. I mean, in respect of Sonic, I'm not really a Sonic fan. I was always a Mario fan.
Okay.
Never really did anything for me. I don't really get the hype about Sonic. So this one kind of as an announcement. The edition stuff is super weird.
Yeah.
Get it. Broader Sega fan, some games. Jet Set Radio is probably my favorite Sega game, funnily enough. But yeah, it's weird. I don't get the editions. Like usually your digital editions are, the bonuses you get are unrelated to the product you're getting. Essentially, they're kind of things extraneous to that experience.
Yeah.
Here, like they're actual things that will change the game as you get Sonic Origins. Like it will change it. So it's really bizarre, really strange.
They've had to code 6 different versions with various switches on and off to play the animations on this particular. It's just weird.
It's just weird. It just seems like and as you say, it's not. It's like, I mean, it would be weird if it was a brand new Sonic.
Yeah,
but it's even weirder that it's just old Sonic games. Like it'd be like Nintendo going, here's the Super Mario 3D collection, and you get a fancy like intro if you get this edition, and we've put some extra animations into Super Mario Galaxy, at the front end menu, and by the way, you also get there's no touch control. Like you can have like a controller input on Super Mario Galaxy. You don't have to do any motion. Like it's all that. It's just super weird stuff that I just don't get why they're doing it. It just seems to be a weird way to nickel and dime big fans.
What does camera controls over the main menu islands?
No one knows. Does
that just mean that does that mean that you can just use the right stick to move the camera?
Yeah, I wonder if it's like if it's free games, isn't it? So in my head, it's full, right? So in my head, you would go onto a main screen, and in all the other editions, you would like move across the screen to go to your island, and the island represents a game. And then on this premium edition, you can then change the camera round that area, so you can do a full 3D of the islands. Like,
I mean, why is that a premium edition?
I have no idea.
All in 8-bit graphics. It's just
I don't understand it. I don't.
But then the other one is character animation in the main menu. Like it's been almost like a Sonic trademark that at the beginning of like as the game starts up, like he kind of jumps up onto the screen and like, waves his finger. Are you telling me that he will only maybe just do that rather than wave his finger?
Wow. Very bizarre. I think it was actually Sonic 3 that lots of people were kind of excited about, because I don't think that's had a re-release for a long time, is it? Or a remaster on a newer platform.
It's been stuck on. Yeah, I think you can only buy it on 360 or something, but as a separate title. Or bear in mind it's on PC and every other platform. But yeah, people seem to kick up a fuss that it's not been part of a collection for a long time.
I don't know. I just don't think Sega have that pull like Nintendo do when it comes to Sonic versus the Mario titles. And my preference is Sega as well. I mean, I loved my Mega Drive and but they just don't have it in comparison to Nintendo, do they? If this was Nintendo, I think all the Nintendo fans would be frothing at the mouth. They'd probably still be thinking it's weird, but they'd be lining up and choosing which edition they're going to buy. But it just doesn't seem to work for Sega. Perhaps I'm wrong.
I feel like the main difference with Sega than with Sonic, though, is that, like, for the most part, the mainline Mario titles have been ultimately pretty consistent in terms of their quality. Like, most people have liked them. Some people, you don't quite like this one more than another one, but they've all been overall pretty damn good. Whereas the Sonic franchise has had like the highs of Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, and then the dips of Sonic 06, which nobody ever wants to talk about. And then it kind of changed from kind of being like a platformy type game with some speed to the kind of on rails. I can't remember what they call it. the modern Sonic games where you're running on a track and you have to follow the track and you can't like free move around and stuff. It's almost like it kind of lost its identity trying to find it. And if you're a hardcore Sonic fan, you stuck with it. But if you kind of bounced off and played other things, then the fandom kind of dipped. Whereas Nintendo, being consistent, if you are a Nintendo fan, like myself and Luke, for example, like stock of Mario probably sits at the beginning, and they've always been really good, no matter how much you thought of the title. But Sonic, it was like that was bad enough that I'm happy to not play it. My fandom has dipped because of it.
It didn't make the transition into the 3D world particularly seamlessly, did it?
Yeah, which is why I think a lot of people are riding a lot on the big one coming out later this year, because they've advertised it to be open world, or it's open zone, I think they've described it, but how they implement it in practice is going to be completely different to people's expectations. Pretty much people's expectations are going to be like through the roof. So
it's not going to deliver. I can tell them that now. It's not going to deliver.
I like to hope personally, but I kind of agree in a way. But yeah, I have my fingers crossed.
Fair enough. Excellent. Well, just more strangeness from Sega on that front, particularly around the Sonic brand. Anything else we need to discuss while we're here, gents? I think we've kind of rounded up most of the topics. Have I missed anything?
I don't think there's anything
major.
I
don't think I have, no.
Personally.
Wow.
I mean, Halo Season 2 stuff got announced earlier today, didn't it?
It did,
perhaps some
perhaps.
new modes and that, but I don't know if there's much to discuss.
Perhaps we'll
I
save
mean, I'm not
that.
a massive Halo fan. Yeah.
No, we'll save that for perhaps Sunday's show if we can do one when Scott's here.
Yeah,
and go through some of those things.
But, that's something I've just read before we do go, talking about the Xbox app. So it's a new topic as of 6:45 this evening.
Stories.
Saying, Xbox is adding stories to the mobile app.
What does that mean?
Why not?
What does that mean?
I feel like it's like the Instagram thing where you kind of...
Yeah, it's like the Instagram thing.
I don't use Instagram, but I'm aware of the feature. Like where you put like pictures together in like a compilation and then people can watch them. How the hell it works, I have no idea. Yeah. Probably just put screenshots and screen captures together in
I'd like to think that this might mean there's a redesign of the app coming then, perhaps. But that's interesting.
Hopefully.
Yeah, indeed. Well, thank you very much, gents. Yes, it's been a kind of a mishmash of topics at the moment. Not masses of huge news dropping at the moment. Although I did see that the Cory Barlog put a message out on the anniversary of God of War, saying that there's nothing really to show off yet. And I think lots of people were thinking, well, if the game launches by the end of the year, you don't have anything to show off yet. I don't think the game is launching this year, but B, I think if Sony do have something, they're obviously going to save it for a big showcase. They're not just going to drop it on a...
Didn't Cory Barlog come out and say that they were like almost reiterating that it's going to be coming out later this year?
Did he?
I thought he came out and confirmed it afterwards.
He didn't, but I think Bruno Velasquez, who I think is the lead animation director, was like asked on Twitter, like by someone, can you just say, is it coming this year? And he said, yes, it's coming this year.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay. It was very emphatic. So I think it's been a bit confusing because actually the Barlog message was supposed to commemorate the fact that it's been 4 years since God of War to the day. But invariably, he added just a bit, we're still working on Ragnarok. We'll show you more when it's closer to the time. And so, I think maybe the message is a bit lost. Like he wasn't trying to use it for an update on Ragnarok. He was trying to use it to celebrate God of War. So, but yeah, the animation director was very emphatic that it's still coming this year.
Oh, I didn't realise that. Oh, okay.
We'll see.
I'd love to be wrong on that front. I certainly hope it is coming this year. That would be a fantastic addition to the PS5 lineup. Go on.
Final comment I've just seen here as well from Ash Reviews Games saying Sega will also add stories for an additional $19.99.
Yeah, spin what tier you get. You've got to go for the right tier. Yeah. Depends if you want animation with that as well, or sounds. Bizarre. Anyway, thank you very much, panel. Thanks. It's always a delight chatting gaming news and stuff with you chaps. Fantastic.
Can I add something before you actually close as well?
Go on.
So I know I mentioned this on Discord, but I appreciate there's probably people here watching that maybe not be on there. So and we talked about it when we met in person a couple of days ago. So I'm I'm interested in doing a potential stream in the nearest future where I may spend 2 hours trying to put a small kind of game project together and just kind of almost show off the process from a very simplistic level.
In UE5?
I was probably going to, I don't know yet, Unity or maybe UE5. I need to get up to speed of UE5 personally, but one or the other perhaps. But if people are interested in watching something like that, I just wanted to kind of put it out there that I'm interested in doing it if people would be interested in watching it. And if so, please let us know. Send me whether it's a DM or on Twitter, or put something on the Discord channel if you're interested in that kind of content. And if you are, then I'll think of something and try to put something together to try and stream, and we'll make a game together effectively, I think's the idea. So if you're interested in something like that, yeah, please let me know.
Yeah, I think that would be massively popular. I think it's something you need to do.
So I shall have a think. Yeah.
No, fantastic. Okay, well, thank you. Yes, chat. Thank you as always. You've been fantastic. Thank you for bringing some fresh ideas, some different perspectives to some of the topics we discussed. It would not be the same show without the live chat. That is certainly for sure. So no, thank you very much. We'll aim to try and bring a show on Sunday if we can. We'll try and dig around for some more truffles, for some more topics that we can snaffle out and sort of sink our teeth into, and like you say, we've already got one in the season 2 stuff with Halo. But fantastic. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Safe gaming. Enjoy whatever it is you're playing at the moment, and we will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Take care.